I have been living with a covert narcissist for a little over a year now. I just want to share the experience because a lot of time, I'm just going to share. Okay. When I initially moved into the place where I'm staying now, I had no idea, obviously, that my roommate would be a covert narcissist. He was going through the recent loss of his husband, and he just didn't want to be alone. And a lot of his friends at the time had turned pretty much their backs on him or weren't giving him the level of attention that he felt like he needed in order to heal from the grief of losing his husband. And so, me being the healing kind, um, we're going to get into that. And the insecurities that I was holding made it possible for me to move into his house and help him with the things that he needed around the house to help him mend and heal from this grief. Well, over the year of being there, I began to notice certain things. Like he was using things that came natural to me as a means to draw them out. You know what I'm saying? Like once he realized naturally that I was a clean person, naturally that I'm an empathic person, naturally that I'm a good listener, he played into those things, right? And when I wouldn't do those things, then his behavior would shift to get my behavior to shift so he could continue, you get what I'm saying? Milking the benefits of those things. And initially, having being born, okay, to a narcissist mom who was a covert narcissist and a dad who was avoidant, it kind of was a reverse, right? It was like, here I have a male figure being a covert narcissist, which is similar to what my mom was, but at the same time, I feel like I'm getting the masculine energy that I didn't get as a child. You know what I'm saying? That I felt like I was missing. And within this year, I would gain another roommate who had just recently got out of a relationship with a covert narcissist. And I would be listening to him like go through these stories of what he had dealt with when he was with Stephen. And I'm going to bring that up because he talks about Stephen every day, okay? And so I would listen, and like I said, the empathic listener in me would go and listen and want to heal, and at the same time understand, because I was like, oh, my mom was a covert narcissist. And as he began to talk about these things that Stephen would do, he would point them out to what my roommate was doing. Or our master roommate. We're going to call him master roommate because I'm going to give him the grace of not saying his name. The master narcissist whose house we were living in. And I was like, yeah, he does do that. Yeah, that's just who he is, making excuses for his behavior. And it wouldn't be until my friend moved in, the other roommate moved in April. Okay, so I moved in, let's start a timeline, right? I moved in September of last year, which is 2023. He moved in April of this year, and here we are in November of 2024. And it wasn't until a couple weeks ago, well, actually, he had already started to devalue in phase. So if you understand narcissism, you know what's going on. He was like, yeah, I don't want you here anymore. I don't need you here. I don't need you for this. I don't like, all of a sudden, all of these things that I had been doing that you said that you needed me here for and asked me to be here for, you no longer need. And it was like such a slap in the face because I'm thinking, yes, you do. You follow me around the house asking me for things that I already naturally do. So yes, you still need me to do these things. Why are you pushing me away? Like I begin to think, well, one, I realized I hadn't done anything wrong because I had already, if you've been following me, I've been going through this whole awareness thing to begin with. So it's like my awareness was growing for me to be more comfortable into myself. And as I'm becoming more aware of myself, I'm beginning to realize the master level deception, the master level manipulation that's going on that's so like mirrors what my mom would do, mirrors what Steven was doing, which was the other roommate's ex, and I'm thinking, wait a minute. It all came to a head when he picked a fight with me on purpose. I'm like, wait a minute, why are you mad all of a sudden? Why is this, what's going on? And I went and sat down and I had that aha moment, and It hurt. Realizing all the emotional abuse that I had put myself back through, that was the same thing that my mom had did to me. It hurt realizing that I needed to heal. And in sitting in that pain of realizing that I needed to heal, I was able to begin mending the things that were broken, because I was thinking to myself, like, why am I in this situation, right? For the Christians, God, what have I done to deserve this? To the universe, are you serious? But I realized I set out on this journey to heal myself. And in doing that, I asked for this. I asked for myself to be tested to see if I knew what it meant to survive narcissism, if I knew what it meant for me to step into my higher self, to be able to be proud of who I am and what I represent, and not allow somebody else to goad me into who they want me to be because it benefits them. And that's the heart of narcissism, right? Is you deliberately use my weaknesses, my insecurities about myself to goad me into the doll that you want me to be. And so now that I'm aware, right, I had to go to my other roommate, and we had a tearful moment, because he was like, to be going through something and to want to be open about it and to want to share, and people say, I don't want to hear this. What are you talking about? That's just who they are. It feeds into the emotional abuse that you're already dealing with. So it's almost like you're getting kicked in the heart for sharing your truth, for trying to be honest. And I had to realize that people who do that only do that because that's what's been done to them. They've been told this is what you're supposed to do to somebody who's being sensitive. You're supposed to lie to them. You're supposed to hurt them, to teach them how to be tough. Because this is what was done to them. And so now, that he's asked me to move out and I have to find another place to stay. I was hurt at first. In my journal, I was going on about all the things, reminding myself of who I was and how great I was. And then that's when I realized, that he was a narcissist. And then I started writing about that. And then I realized I'm happy, because that's him realizing that I was not going to feed into what it is that he wanted me to be. And so I need to go somewhere else. And I'm thinking, I do. I need to go where I'm better appreciated. I need to go where I'm better valued, because now, not only do I know how to deal with narcissism and survive it, because I sat through the pain of the emotional abuse enough to heal myself, to be aware of who you are and what you're about, I'm also ready to start a chapter of my life that begins with me loving me, that begins with me accepting myself and not being afraid to stand up to anybody that's willing to devalue me just to make themselves feel better, because this is the conditional love that they've been taught. To make sensitive people stronger, you hurt them because it was done to them. I'm not that person. Never will be that person. Can't be that person, because there's too much inside of me that's willing to accept you just for the way that you are. There's too much inside of me to know how hard it is just for me to step outside and be my authentic self, and know that people are going to judge me for whatever it is, calling me ignorant, calling me dumb, calling me whatever word they have a negative connotation associated with it towards me, because I'm doing what they're not supposed to do, which is be themselves, which is accept themselves, which is to accept that people are not going to like you, accept that people are just not going to get along with you, but believe that for those same amount of people that don't value you and don't love you, there is a greater amount of people who are willing to love you when you're willing to stand up to them and say enough, to say enough. So I really just wanted to share this story because, one, in sharing my truth, I'm able to let go of it, to say I'm going to let this leave my body through my words and let it serve as a memory of an experience that I had, and also a memory of an experience for people who may be going through the same thing, or wherever they are in their journey. This finds them, you know? Because that representation of what you're going through, and this is what I told my other roommate, not the narcissist, the one that survived the narcissist, because we're both survivors. Because I'm like, oh, at this point, I feel like we've trauma bonded, which in this situation was necessary. But also at the same time, we both know that when we both leave this situation, we'll both be able to look back on this and talk back on this and realize the awareness and growth that we receive from being in this situation that's going to help us get to the next level. That in sharing this story, right, and sharing what it is that I'm going through, it just gives people another way to connect, not only to themselves, but to me, you know, to show that we all go through things in life that are there to make us better. And a lot of times the pain that's associated with the things that we go through is necessary for the healing process, because you can't heal without pain. You just can't. I mean, we go to the doctor and the doctor prescribes you pain pills for the pain, but let's be honest. If the pain pills are too good, we stay on these pain pills because we want to numb ourselves to any pain that we encounter and think that in numbing ourselves to the pain, we're healing. But guess what? The pain shows you where to heal. Do you get what I'm saying? If I'm sick, that's one thing. But if my foot is in pain, I know why I'm sick. You get what I'm saying? So you have to sit through it in order to be able to see what needs to be fixed, okay? So that you can actively put your attention on it, so you can walk away from the situation and say, yeah, I needed to sit through that pain in order to understand. And it takes a strong person. It does. But the only way to get strong is to get comfortable with the discomfort. And baby steps, you know, we got to give ourselves grace, because time is something everybody has an individual number, okay? And unfortunately, not everybody got the same number when it comes to time. So give them the grace to use their time points as they see fit, because you're going to do the same thing with yours. To realize you just take it one step at a time, however that looks for you. And eventually, you know, like I said, here I am a year later, realizing what happened, but also being happy to have had the experience, to share the experience, to have grown from this experience. So, thank you for listening. And drop down in the comments. We can talk about it, because I know there's a lot of people going through similar situations that need somebody to talk to, or just to share. You know what I'm saying? To feel like you're not alone.